The new Sony WF-1000XM5 earbuds are the best noise-cancelling earbuds in the world. I know this because Sony told me so on their website, on their Amazon listing, and even on the product packaging itself. But is it actually true? Are the WF-1000XM5s actually the best there is? Well, given that they're priced, at least here in Canada, at $130 more than their leading competitor, the Apple AirPods Pro 2, I guess they must be. So what do you get for that extra wallop of cash? You get a small, curvy case, finished in matte black or grey, but it does feel quite cheap. The squeaky, creaky construction is reminiscent of some of the $20 to $30 no-name brand earbuds I've tested, though I'm pleased to see they finally figured out how to make it comfortably small, and it has wireless charging too. The earbuds themselves now fit comfortably in human ears. It's great to see how much they've been able to shrink them down. The sound quality is excellent and very enjoyable for music and podcasts, at least when stationary. But for me, they are completely unusable for running because of the quite severe occlusion effect. That's the deep thuds you hear as your eardrums are pushed and pulled when each foot hits the ground. It pretty much ruins whatever I'm listening to, and I even hear it when I'm walking. This is a problem on many earbuds which fully or partially seal the ear canals, but it's especially bad on these. You get really good active noise cancellation, except maybe that's not quite true. And this is where the illusion starts to peel away a bit, because what I think a lot of people don't realize is that the great noise reduction on these buds depends to a large extent on passive sound isolation. Unlike some other earbuds like the AirPods Pro or One More Aero, which have strong enough active noise cancellation to compensate for the thin silicone flanges which don't go as far into the ear canals, the WF-1000XM5s seem to rely quite heavily on the foam ear tips being inserted deeply into the ear canals and getting a tight seal to block external sound passively. If your ear holes don't match well to the shape and size of the provided tips, you won't get a tight seal and the noise cancellation might seem quite disappointing, or according to some people on Reddit, almost non-existent. Sony have chosen these short lifespan foam ear tips rather than silicone flanges for a reason. And I think that reason is to act as foam earplugs and create the illusion of having superior ANC. The ambient mode, which is Sony's version of transparency, is the main disappointment for me. The audio quality of it is okay, but the problem is that it's too quiet, and so I sound more trapped in my own head and as if I'm going deaf. A bit of an uncomfortable feeling. My voice doesn't sound quite natural, the world sounds quieter than reality, and I just don't like how it feels that much. There's also more self-noise or hiss than some competing products, much more than I would expect on something that's supposed to be premium. It's not nearly as good as Apple's transparency, and most surprisingly, even my $65 One More Comfo Buds Pro have much better sounding transparency than the XM5s. On the bright side, while Sony doesn't advertise this or even mention it anywhere, these buds have the same kind of hearing protection feature that Apple calls adaptive transparency on the AirPods Pro 2. This instantly reduces the volume of sudden loud sounds, like a hammer hitting a plank of wood or the loud whine of a chainsaw. No one seems to be talking about this, but having tested it thoroughly, I can confirm that it's there. It doesn't work as well as on the AirPods Pro 2, but it does work for some types of loud sounds. If you want something that does this much more effectively, try the Etymotic Music Pros. Though they don't actually play music, they're purely for hearing protection. When it comes to the touch controls, I'm not really feeling it. You have to tap 4 times to increase the volume 1 level. So adjusting the volume a few clicks requires a lot of tapping, and with the strong occlusion effect, that means a lot of thuds in the ear and pressure against the eardrum. There's no way to change the number of taps assigned to a given action. You're stuck with what Sony has chosen, and I wonder if maybe the controls were thought up by the same team that came up with the name of the product. Others will love them, and that's great. It's nice to have another option on the market, and they do sound rather good musically. But I admit I'm really quite disappointed. I thought the high price would make sense once I tried them, but now I'm just even more confused. The touch controls are quite annoying. The transparency is not very transparent, and the occlusion effect is worse than on most of the earbuds I've tested. They fall far short of my expectations for something at this price. To me, these seem like $100 earbuds with a $300 Sony logo placed on top. I had such high hopes for the WF-1000XM5s, but it seems they just aren't for me. I think they fall too far behind the competition in too many areas for the higher price to make sense, and that maybe Sony are relying too much on their name and their marketing might to convince people that these are far better than they actually are. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.